Hi guys, so just want to show you how to use the invisible tabs. This is the new look for them. Slight improvement after a bit of feedback from some folks saying that they're invisible tabs and they can't actually find the tab on the vinyl very easily. So I have put a little black dot on the tie-in side so you can find them easy enough. I also now do the multi-pack, this is the one here. Which has 10, 8 and 5mm all together on the same card. 22 of the 10, 26 of the 8 and 36 of the 5mm tabs. Also on the top there's a nice round sticker that you can stick on your tackle box, add a bit of bling to any of the bits that you own. It's my logo. So I know a lot of folks have been asking for it at the moment. This is the only way to get my logo on a sticker is with the invisible tabs. I prefer 2DIs using the invisible tabs, and the reason being is I find them more durable personally. They don't pop off as easy as the 3DIs. They don't delaminate either, so what you see is what you get, and they also flex nicely, so you tend to lose less on the lose less of the 2DIs than you would the 3DIs. Now the tabs are made out of a plastic vinyl, so you do need to be careful with the glues that you use. Contact adhesives, some of them will melt the vinyl or plastics as contact adhesives do. Super glue is a no-no. It makes them very brittle. So if you're going to use, ideally you don't need to use any glue. I don't use any glue tying them in personally. But you wouldn't want to use any super glue or anything like that on the tabs because it does make them brittle and prone to break off. If you use the flat eyes, you can use Flex UV resin over the top of them, makes them into 3D eyes, adds a bit of depth. It also, as a UV glue, which I'll show you later, sets when you hit it with the light, it will flare the eye slightly as well, adding a bit of volume to that head, so it won't crush the fibers as much. You'll actually see it widen. Like I say, they're easy to use. I've been selling them for a good long time now. I was making them myself here at home, but you know, they're a bit of a bodge job on the machine here myself. I couldn't print them, so they're very basic. Now they're a little bit more professional looking, still the same great eyes, but just with a slightly new look. Namely, they have a little black eye. So if you just use a bodkin just to lift off the thin part of the tab, or the tie-in point, sorry, try and avoid touching the larger round end, and the reason being is if you touch the vinyl, it'll leave your fingerprint behind, and then when you insert your eye over the top, you're going to see your fingerprint in front of the eye. I like to put my tabs, or I made these to go over the top of a 2DI. So, although you probably can't see it that well because they are invisible, basically just line it up. This is the 8mm that I'm using on this fly. Line up the tab over the top of the eye and just press it down onto it. I don't know if we can see it there in that thing. I'll just put my thumb behind it. Not really. You can see the black dot there, but it's over the top of the eye. You'll see it better when it's on the actual fly. Just grab the second one because we need two. Lay it down on top. So that's those two on there. I'm just going to peel them off. Stick one on my thumb for the other side of the fly. So the tabs themselves are made quite long for the tying, but I don't like to leave too much space. Now you can tie the eye all the way further back. You'll see on some of my patterns I do squid eyes, which I would tie it right on the tip and leave the eye hanging over the back of the hook. But on baitfish I tend to keep it kind of close to the eye. 2 loose wraps, so I've just laid it down on top. 2 loose wraps just to keep it from moving, and then I'm going to tie the other side in. Now, just have to make a note of how far you're leaving it from the thread, so that on the other side you can get it pretty much the same, or you can look at the tips of the tabs and make sure they line up. You're prematurely pulling yourself there. Just pop that over there 1 second. So before you tighten down on thread wraps, make sure they're lined up, that they're even on either side, and then you can tighten up on your thread wraps like so. As you can see, it's slightly flattened the head, but that's locked in nicely, and then you just take your tips and you fold them back. I need to do a couple of wraps over and tie off. Now again, you can seal up the head of this fly with a bit of UV. Go and fish this, be grand. Eyes won't come off. Trim off the excess, by the way, which is what I'm just doing there now. Excess tabs. I'm just going to darken this thread so that it matches the head. And then we're going to take a bit of Raid Zap UV Flex Thick. Now I like thick when I'm doing it like this. Now again, I don't always cover it with, if you're wanting a light fly, you don't need to use a UV Flex over the top. But this particular fly, it's getting a bit low there. It's actually a bit cold in the old shed here, so it's quite thick. Now this is going to have bubbles in it because I just shook it like a fool, but I'll show you a quick trick of getting them away. The reason I like thick, as I was saying, is the thick stays in place, doesn't run very much. While that's on there, I'm just going to add, now this is Raid Zap UV Thin, just adding UV Thin over the, whoops, come on, also running a bit low, and I've actually hit that with the UV light, so it's blocked. Just pop that off there. There we go. There we go. Right, so if you see, I don't know if you can see, but on the eye closest to me there is a couple of bubbles, so I'm just going to use my heat tool, my cauterizer, just run it over and it clears out. You don't have to touch the resin, but you just heat it, brings those bubbles to the surface and leaves a nice clear thing. Now I'm just going to leave that to settle for a second, and I'm going to hit it with a UV light, and you can see that the head rise, or the eyes widen a touch when the UV resin, as it sets, it heats up quite a bit, and it actually shrinks slightly as well, so it kind of flares the eyes away from the shank, so it doesn't crush that head as much anymore. Now the reason I use the flex on these is so that they move with the material. If you use a UV hard, the chances are they'll get snapped off. But that's it. That's how you do it. Leaves a nicely placed eye. Makes it easier to place eyes for starters. Now you can add glue to the back of these, like a contact adhesive. I tend to use the Evo Stick Serious Glue. I have no issues with the Evo Stick Serious Glue melting the vinyl. So you can add a drop of UV, the Evo Stick to the back of the eye before you put it down as well. Help bond it to the materials. I tend not to. I find the UV and the vinyl itself perfectly adequate to keep the fly on for a good few fish. But yeah, that's it. That's how to use them. That's how I use them. So 3 things, like I said, or 2 main thing is, don't use super glue. Super glue is bad for any vinyl. It makes it very brittle. But yeah, hope that helps. And yeah, all the new ones are now loaded onto the site. So anyone that's ordered anything from this week will have received the new tabs, which is way better off. The 10 mils have 48 tabs, the 8 mils have 78, and the 5 mils have 126 tabs. So it's good value for money, especially in the smaller eyes and the smaller tabs. So tie plenty of flies with any of them, really. But yeah, they're loaded up on the website now. So thanks for watching, and yeah, cheers.